As we move further into 2026, the economy continues to demonstrate resilience, but not without complexity. Growth remains positive, though moderating. After a strong finish to 2025, we're seeing signs that a pace of expansion is normalizing. Consumer spending remains solid, supported by wage growth and a still healthy job market. However, job growth has cooled compared to prior quarters, and we're watching that trend carefully. Inflation continues to move in the right direction, but it remains above the Federal Reserve's long-term 2% target. The Fed's already cut rates multiple times since peak tightening, and policymakers now find themselves balancing two competing priorities: supporting employment while ensuring inflation expectations remain anchored. Interest rates today are meaningfully lower than their 2023 peaks, but still higher than what investors are accustomed to in the ultra-low rate era. This creates a very different backdrop for borrowers, savers, and investors alike. Geopolitical risks, trade policy developments, and fiscal policy decisions continue to add uncertainty to the outlook, but importantly, uncertainty does not equal instability. Economic fundamentals remain intact, and that distinction matters. Markets have responded to this environment with both strength and volatility. Equities delivered solid gains in 2025, particularly in technology and AI-related sectors. However, valuations remain elevated. The S&P 500's forward price-to-earnings ratio is above long-term historical averages, which means expectations are high. When expectations are high, markets can become more sensitive to disappointments. A relatively small group of mega-cap companies continues to drive a disproportionate share of index performance. While these companies are innovative and profitable, concentration increases portfolio risk if leadership narrows further and sentiment shifts. On the fixed income side, bonds are once again playing a meaningful role in diversified portfolios. With yields still at attractive levels relative to the last decade, high-quality fixed income can provide income and ballast during equity volatility. We're also closely monitoring global markets. International and emerging markets have begun to show periods of relative strength. Diversification beyond U.S. large-cap stocks may prove increasingly important in this phase of the cycle. From an investment committee perspective, our focus remains disciplined and strategic. Maintain diversified portfolio allocations, rebalance when appropriate, avoid chasing momentum, ensure portfolios align with long-term objectives and risk tolerance. Markets will fluctuate. This is normal. The key is maintaining discipline during those fluctuations. Looking forward, several themes will likely shape the remainder of 2026. First, monetary policy. Investors will be watching closely for signals about additional rate cuts or pauses. Markets tend to move ahead of Fed decisions, so expectations may shift quickly as new data emerges. Second, corporate earnings. Ultimately, earnings growth drives market performance. If companies continue to deliver solid profit growth, markets can sustain higher valuations. If earnings disappoint, volatility may increase. And third, fiscal policy and tax considerations. With major tax provisions now extended and new legislation in place, individuals and businesses must maintain proactive tax planning and wealth strategy. And finally, investor behavior. Periods like this, when headlines are constant and valuations are elevated, can test discipline. The temptation to react emotionally is strongest when uncertainty feels the loudest. At WHZ, our role is to ensure that portfolios are built not just for headlines, but for long-term goals. That means focusing on asset allocation, diversification, tax efficiency, and risk management, not on short-term speculation. While we can't control markets, we can control preparation. And preparation, combined with discipline, is what ultimately builds and preserves wealth over time. And as always, we'll be there to help provide you with absolute confidence, unwavering partnership for life.